Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria if you're new here. Hello, nice to meet you. Today I have a sort of everyday flow for you. It's just a good sort of all-rounder and you don't need any equipment. So whenever you are ready, let's get on the mat and get started. So we're going to get started on our backs today. So we're just gonna slowly come down. You can bend those knees, soles of the feet on that ground, about hip width distance apart. You just place your hands on those ribs. Elbows nice and wide, shoulders away from your ears. Back of the ribs are pressing into that mat. And we're just gonna start by finding our lateral breath. So this is just to help us find that deep breathing that we love in Pilates. You can close your eyes or even soften that gaze. And let's all inhale through the nose, feeling those ribs expand to the sides, to the back. And then exhaling through the mouth, pushing all of it out. Again, inhaling through the nose one more time. Trying to see if you can find an even bigger breath, even bigger, deeper inhale. And then exhaling to knit those ribs together, pushing all the air out. Let's just do that in your own time. Keep going, finding that nice pace for yourself, challenging yourself to find an even bigger breath each time if you can. Apologies if you can hear any noise, it's quite lively out on a Saturday afternoon. Let's just do 2 more like this. And then one last one. Go ahead and open your eyes when you've breathed out that last breath. And you can move your hands down to that pelvis, and we're just gonna do a couple of pelvic tilts just to help us find that neutral spine and pelvis and get some movement in there. So you're just going to tuck that tailbone, rounding it, pressing against the mat so the back of your lower back pushes against the mat, and then you're just going to go the other way, tilting that tailbone towards the mat, finding a really sort of exaggerated pocket underneath your lumbar. So just breathing however you want, breathing with the movement, trying to keep the back of those ribs on that mat, staying on that mat the entire time. And then when you're ready, we're just going to find somewhere halfway, just a little bit of space in that lumbar back of the ribs on the mat, and that's going to be your neutral. So we're going to bring our legs together like glue. Your arms are going to come out in this low V position, palms facing up. And let's just start with some hip rolls to mobilize our lower spine. So keeping your feet together, you're going to dip those knees over to that left side. Your spine is going to start to peel and rotate off that mat. Your right foot is going to lift from that mat, and you're only going as far as you can without lifting that right shoulder from that mat. And again, you're just going to bring everything back, lower back comes back, returns to the mat as your knees, I keep saying heels, knees go back up towards the ceiling. And you're gonna go the other way, exhaling to find that twist, going nice and slow, moving from that center, and then inhaling to bring those knees all the way back. Let's just do 2 more on each side. Really placing that opposite shoulder into that mat to keep it in place. Keeping both sides of the waist nice and long as well, just so that you're really moving from that spine. And then just even out. And then you're going to return all the way to the start. Amazing. So let's bring our hands back in, palms facing down on the mat, and we're just gonna bring our feet back into that hip width distance. And let's just do some hip curls to mobilize that spine. So again, you're gonna round that tailbone into the mat as you send and push your pelvis up towards the ceiling, peeling that spine up until you're roughly on your shoulders. You're forming one long line from knees to your chest. And then you're going to slowly come back down, melting that spine down from those ribs, then the mid-back, lower back, keeping that tuck in that pelvis until it returns to that mat. And then you're going to refine that neutral before you go again. So exhaling to start that tuck of that tailbone, you're going to send those hips up nice and slow. Inhaling at the top, keeping those ribs nice and soft. And then exhaling to slowly come back down, using that core, that center, to just really slow down and articulate that spine, if you will. If you want to bring your arms up so your palms can be facing your knees, just to help challenge your stability a little bit, feel free to. So keeping those arms reaching up towards that ceiling, you're going to tuck that tailbone and come up to that shoulder stand. You're going to inhale at the top and then exhale to come all the way back down. Let's just do one more. And on this one, you're going to stay at the top, and we're just going to sweep our arms forwards and back. So bringing your arms all the way back, reaching towards the room, your arms alongside your ears, and then you're going to sweep it all the way back down onto the mat. So you're staying in that shoulder stand as your arms sweep forwards and back, keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed. Your glutes are squeezing, your quads are actively trying to help you hold this shoulder bridge stance. And you're just breathing however you want, whatever feels natural to you, breathing with those arms. And let's just do two. And then one last one. Let's bring your arms back up if you want to. And you're just going to roll onto the outside of your feet. Your knees are going to come apart and you're going to squeeze those glutes, keeping that lift in that hip. And then you're going to come the other way, and your knees and your thighs are going to come together. And you're just going to alternate directions, squeezing those glutes when your knees come out, and squeezing those inner thighs when your knees come in. Again, just breathe whatever feels natural with the movement. Let's just do 3 and 2 and one last one. And then you're going to slowly melt your spine all the way back down, nice and slow. Lovely job, lovely work, everyone. And you're going to bring your hands back down. And let's just, if you want to give your knees a little hug, a little circling, please do. I know it's quite intense on the thighs, but it's really great because it works muscles that you don't normally get to work. So that's what Pilates is all about. And when you're ready, you're going to set your feet back down. I'm going to come into some curl-ups. So your hands go behind your head. Your elbows are in your peripherals, and again, just taking stock of that spine. The back of your ribs are still nice and heavy on that mat, and you should have a little bit of space underneath that lumbar. And you're going to nod your chin as you lift into this curl up, looking between your thighs, and then you're going to come all the way back down. Exhaling to find that curl up, really moving from that center, try not to tug at your head, and then inhaling to come down. Next time that you come up to this curl up, you're going to extend that right leg, keeping it hovered, and then you're going to bring it back, foot back down, and then your head is going to come all the way back down. Exhale to lift, and then we're gonna alternate legs. So the left leg comes forwards and hovers. Inhale to bring that foot back down and to set that head back down. Let's just do 2 more on each side like this. This is all about precision. Going nice and slow, there's absolutely no rush. And when you come up and down out of that curl up, really try to maintain and keep those elbows in your peripherals, just so your spine doesn't really change, your ribs doesn't collapse. Ribs don't collapse. Rib cage doesn't collapse. Once you've done your last one, you're gonna come back into that curl up and extend that right leg, okay? Keeping that hovered. Keeping this curl up, you're going to sweep that right leg up and then bring it back down, again, keeping that right leg hovered. Exhaling to sweep that leg up, inhaling to lower. If it's a bit much, feel free to bring that head down, but really try to keep that leg hovering, just so you have that constant connection with the core. Let's just do 3, 2, 1. You're gonna set your foot back down, and then your head is going to come down. And just have a little bit of a rest before we go on to that left side. Okay, again, elbows back in your peripherals. You're going to come up to that curl up, looking between those thighs, and then you're going to extend that left leg, keeping it hovered. Exhaling to sweep that leg up, inhaling to lower. Really keeping that core connection, keeping your shoulders and your head lifted. Again, trying not to pull your neck. Let's just do 2, 1, and then bring that foot down before we bring our head down. And you're very nice. Let's just hug our knees one more time. Maybe draw little circles with your knees. And the other way. Nice work. All right. And then when you're ready, we are going to come to our all fours. So we're going to come onto our sides, nice and safe, and we're going to find 4-point kneeling. Ooh, a little popcorn on my on my mat. So you want your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. And again, we're just going to take a moment to think about our alignment. So we want a little bit of that curve in our lower back. Our ribs should be nice and supported, so there's just this active, constant core connection to keep it there. And the back of your head is pulling towards that ceiling, the highest point in your position, in your stance. So let's just do some balance, oh my God, what is it called? Balancing tables, I think. No, that doesn't sound right, but you'll see what I mean. Okay, picking up your right hand and your left knee, you're going to bring your elbows and your knees together, and you're going to round through that back, slightly tucking in that chin, finding this sort of cat position. And then you're going to slowly extend your arm, your leg out long, reaching and pulling in opposite directions, and your chest and your hips are still square. So you're in this sort of tabletop position. Again, staying on your hands and knee, the same hand and knee, we're going to find that curl, and then you're going to, again, find that nice tabletop shape. So exhaling for your knees and your elbows to come together, and then inhaling to extend. Let's just do a few more like this. Careful not to drop your head, being really mindful of the placement of your head. Let's just do 2. And then 1, keeping a soft bend in that left elbow and that standing elbow. And then you're going to bring your hand and your knee back down. Let's just sit back a little bit for 1 second so we can give our wrist a little bit of a spin, a little bit of a rest. And you always have the option to use fists. So if it's a little bit sore on your wrist, feel free to try using fists instead, or just sit back and rest. There's no shame in that as well. The most important thing is listening to your body. So finding that 4-point kneeling once more, we're going to go onto the other side. Left hand lifts, right knee lifts, and they're gonna come together. You're gonna round through that back, slightly tucking in that chin, and then you're going to reach your arm and your leg in opposite directions. Exhaling to find this cat position, and then inhaling to find that flat back. And again, keeping a soft bend in that right elbow, and making sure that your stomach and your ribs don't drop as well. There's always that core connection there to keep your spine in relative neutral as you extend. Let's just do 2 more. And then 1. And bring your hand back down, knee back down, and again push back and just give your wrist a little bit of a circle. Oh, it's hot today in London, so I feel like this should be like feel good and gentle, but I am sweating. I don't know about you. Okay, 1 more on our 4-point kneeling. We're gonna find some side planks. So you're going to pivot on that left knee, and then you're going to open up to the right. Your arm and legs go out long, and then you're going to slowly bring yourself back down into 4-point kneeling once more. And then going onto the other side, right knee pivots, and you're gonna open up to the left, arms alongside your ears, leg out long, and then you're gonna rotate back. So it's not a very quick movement, it's quite a controlled movement. There's absolutely no rush. And you can just exhale to find that side bend, and then inhale to return. Next time you're on that left side, so your right leg is up, let's just stay in this side plank. You're gonna bring your knee and your elbow together, and then out. Exhaling to draw them together, inhaling to reach. Let's just do 3 and 2, keeping your shoulders away from your ears, soft bend in that elbow. 1 last one. And then you're gonna bring everything back down, and then we're gonna go onto the other side. So pivoting on that right knee, opening up to that left, finding that reaching side bend, and then you're going to bring that knee to your elbow and then extend. So you want to keep that spine nice and long. It's really just a hip flexor and shoulder mobility movement with a bit of that stability. Let's just do 2 more. And then 1. Whew, it's a bit tricky. And then place your hand back onto the mat, and let's just sit back into our rest position, our child's pose. Reaching your arms out in front. Just to, again, if you want to give the wrist a little bit of a circle, go for it. And then when you are ready, we're going to come into prone, so on our stomachs. So you're going to bring your toes together, heels apart, so your legs are just nice and relaxed, letting them splay out how you want. And you're going to bring your hands behind your back, and you want to clasp them together like this. So your palms are kind of in this type of, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm sure you can see it. Your forehead is going to come onto the mat, okay? And again, finding a little bit of that core connection just to protect that lower back. So on your next exhale, you're gonna swipe your nose up as you lift your head, your chest, and you're going to pull your hands towards your feet And your legs are going to come in together. So your heels are going to glue together. You're gonna inhale at the top, and then you're gonna exhale to relax everything, heels coming back as you melt your chest and your head all the way back down. So again, exhaling to lift that head. You're gonna start to pull with those hands, your heels are coming together, keeping a nice tuck in that chin. Inhale at the top, and then exhaling to come all the way back down nice and slow. And let's just do one more like this. And then you're going to release your hands. Again, push yourself back into that rest position, just to give that back a little bit of that counter stretch, but that should feel nice. In your chest, a little bit in your shoulders as well. And then we're going to slowly roll all the way up into kneeling. So we're almost done. We just have a few more. You're gonna come up to this kneeling position. You want your knees underneath your hips and just taking stock of that spine, a little bit of that curve in that lower back, your ribs are nice and soft and your head pulling up towards the ceiling. And then you're just going to bring your hands behind your head, keeping those elbows within your peripherals. When you're ready, you're going to dip over to the right, thinking up and over. Even distribution of weight between both of your knees, and then you're gonna slowly come up using that center to pull yourself back up. Exhaling to go over to the other side onto the left, feeling that stretch, and then inhaling to come all the way back up. You can challenge yourself to find an even lower dip each time, as long as you're keeping that weight between both of those knees. And again, really trying to keep those elbows in place. And let's just do one on each side. Evening up. Elbows or shoulders away from those ears. And then you're gonna bring your hands down as you sit onto your heels. So let's just do some quick stretches and then I will let you go. Keeping that left hand on the mat, we're going to bring that right arm up and over into that side bend. And again, trying to find that even weight distribution between both of your legs and the bottom, your cheeks. Shoulders away from your ears, and then you're gonna slowly come back up. Onto the other side, exhaling to find that side bend. Again, thinking up and over, bending into that right elbow, and then coming all the way up. Let's just do one more on each side. So for this, I think I forgot to talk about breathing pattern. I started it, but never finished it. Okay, ADHD problems, love that for me. Okay, and now we're going to just do some nice little cat and cows to finish off. Hands go onto your knees, so keeping relatively straight arms. And you're just going to pull your chest forward, look slightly up. And then exhale, belly button to spine, chin tucking to find that cat rounded back. Again, exhaling to come forward. You can use those hands to help pull you forward as well, but just keep a soft bend in those elbows, and then inhaling to come all the way down. Looking at your belly button, and then you're gonna slowly straighten up, and you are all done. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. I hope you enjoyed that session and you feel adequately worked and stretched. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.